All right, guys, we're gonna go over how to use this trailer. First of all, you have your jack right here. The top button is just a light, and then the bottom one is just raise and lower the jack. Right behind that, you have your propane tank, your battery box, and then your battery disconnect. We're gonna go over a couple of those things right now. Now, to undo this, the cover, there's a little wing nut right here. You're gonna unscrew that, and then you can actually lift off this once you're done with your, and access the propane tank. Once you're done with that, you're gonna put it back on and then put the wing nut back on. That way this doesn't fly off on you. You have a battery which is located here. Hopefully you never need to get into that, but you also do have your battery disconnect switch right behind it. So, for example, say you get in the RV and you know you got everything, should be working fine, but there's no power inside the RV. The first thing you want to check is that battery disconnect switch is turned on. As we come around, every corner has a little stabilizer jack. These just come down and touch the ground. They just make sure, they're not to level the trailer or anything, they just make it more stable. So when you're walking inside, it doesn't wobble. Also, make sure before you leave the campground, you go ahead and raise those up. We also recommend, if you're parked for a while, you just double check them, make sure the gravity didn't make them fall down or something like that. And then inside this compartment, this is a huge compartment. You're gonna find some gear. You're also gonna find that it's huge in here, and you can put a lot of your own gear in here when you're traveling, which is fantastic. As we come through here, you do have a large awning. Just remember, any wind, rain, anything like that at all, you want to make sure that this awning is closed. We only recommend you have it out if you're actually sitting underneath it. If you're not sitting underneath it, we recommend you close it up. They are pretty expensive to replace. They cost about $1,900 to fix for the arms. So if you break one arm, it's still gonna be $1,900. It comes in a kit. And it's pretty labor intensive to replace. So just be careful with your awnings. If you're going to bed, make sure it's closed up. I know I'm going over it quite a bit because if it happens, it is expensive, and usually insurance won't cover it because it's due to neglect or something like that on your part. So just be careful with that. Now we're gonna go over the door here. To access it, you just lift up this lever, you're gonna swing it around just like that, it drops back into place. Then you're gonna open up your door. A lot of times you just push on it and pull the latch. Make sure anytime you're using these stairs, this door is open completely 180 degrees. Now there is a blue pull lever right here, and then there's a handle. What I also want to show you is there's a little notch that sticks out here and one on this side. What those are for are to actually adjust the height of each leg. This, when you put it down, has to be completely flush with the trailer. So if you have one leg that just happens to be longer, you're gonna get a little issue up here. This right here has about an inch gap. If you go to close the door or even the screen, you're gonna have an issue. So just make sure you want that completely level. And to do that, you're gonna lift this back up just like I did. You're going to push the button in, and you can adjust the legs to whatever height you want. And then once you get it set correctly, let me get those locked in. You will see now that it is flush. That's what we want, okay? And now you can access the door. Another thing you want to be aware of, I'm going to close this up. When you close it, there is a little wing on this side that sticks out. When you go to close it, if your door is not open all the way, it's going to hit, scratch, and could damage the door or the stairs. So once again, make sure this is completely open 180 degrees. That way this wing doesn't hit the door. You'll pull the little blue lever here, and then you're gonna lock it into place. Go ahead and close your door. We always recommend you push about right here because that's where the locking mechanism is, and then lift this up and twist it over. That way, if you're driving and this pops open on you, this will lock it in place and the door won't come open. One other thing we wanna note while we're out here, the awning. This door, when it was 180 degrees, came over the awning arm. If you try to put out the awning with your door completely open like that, it can damage the awning or the door. So anytime you're operating the awning, you actually want this at 45 degrees, so straight out like this. That way, when these awning arms come out, it won't hit the door. So just be careful with that. This is a glass door, so you don't want to damage the glass. That would be extremely expensive to fix or replace. So just be careful with that, okay? As we come around, you do have a couple electrical outlets out here. Just remember, anytime you're running outlets, you're gonna need a generator running or plugged in at an RV park to make it work. You have a cable connect here if you're at an RV park. You do have your black tank flush right here. If you are going to flush or dump your own tanks, you can run water through the black tank through hooking a hose up right here. But it's very important that you have the black valve open anytime you run water through it. You do not want to backfill the toilet or the tank inside the trailer. So if the black valve isn't open and you run water through here and you forgot, it can actually bring the sewage up into the trailer. So be extremely careful. Make sure that black valve is completely open anytime you're using this. Once again, you have your little stabilizer jack right here. Those just stabilize the RV. As we come around to the back, hopefully you never need it, but you do have a spare tire located here. Just remember, trailers don't come with jacks for changing tires. You're gonna use your vehicle jack, the vehicle that's towing it, that jack, to actually raise up the trailer to change a tire. As we come around, you do have a ladder back here. This is not for anybody to get on the roof or anything. This is only for accessing, for servicing the air conditioner or solar panels. So you should never be on the roof for anything. You don't want to fall off there. We don't allow people on the roofs, that kind of stuff. So as we come around, you do have your last stabilizer or third stabilizer jack, and then you have a nice storage compartment here. This is where you're going to find your power cord, because the power cord connects right there. So just be aware of that. This is a great gear compartment for everything. And then as we come in here, we have your main power connect right here. This is where you're going to plug in that power. You're going to plug it in here, and it's about a 15 to 20 foot long cord, and you can plug it in at the power box at the RV park, or you can plug it into a generator. Just remember that one of the biggest things calls we get is somebody's at an RV park and they're calling us and saying, hey, there's no power working whatsoever inside this trailer. I'm plugged in at the park. Why isn't it working? 99.999% of the time, they forgot to turn on the power pedestal at the park, or there's a breaker on the power pedestal that they have not switched on. So double check your park power station or pedestal, make sure all the breakers are on, all that kind of stuff, if you don't have power going inside the trailer from the park. As we come around, you do have another exhaust here. Just be careful, you don't want to lean any gear against that or anything. Now we're going to talk about sewage and dumping. There are two tanks on here, a black and a gray water. The gray water is like your shower water, your dirty shower water, your sink water, all that kind of stuff. And then on this side, you're going to have a black pole valve. That's the sewer. Black is sewer, gray is gray water, the handles. So how you dump this is you're going to hook on the sewer hose. It goes into the ground at the dump station. You're going to pull the black valve and let it drain out. You can run some water through it like we talked about before. And then once you're done, you'll turn off that water, and then you can go ahead and close the black valve. Then you will pull the gray valve, and that'll be all your shower water and stuff. And that'll actually kind of clean out that hose. So you always chase the black water with the gray water to kind of help clean out that hose. You can also spray some water through the sewer hose when you're done, just to make sure it's cleaned up. As we come around, you do have a large slide out. It comes about 2 to 3 feet out here. Just make sure there's no trees or branches or another car parked here. When you're operating the slide out, make sure nobody's sitting on it. Same thing when you close it. Make sure there's not an ice chest in the way, or there's no kids sitting on it or anything like that. It needs to be completely unobstructed and no weight on it. So just be careful when you're operating the slide out. As we come around, you have the hot water heater exhaust. Just make sure you're not leaning gear on this. This can get hot, like we talked about back there. This is your freshwater fill. To fill it, you just take your garden hose and fill it up. There's a gauge inside. You can monitor how full you're getting. And then if you do want to dump some fresh water before you come home or something like that, there's a little twist valve that's white underneath here. We actually don't recommend you dump it, because if you need the bathroom or something while on your way home, that way you can access it, because if you dumped all your water, you don't have anything in there. You can dump some of it and then at least have some left over, but we just recommend when you get home, if you want to dump it or something, you could. Fresh water is clean water, so it really doesn't matter if it's in there. And then you do have, lastly, your city water connect. You can technically hook in at an RV park and run straight off of their water. We actually don't recommend you do that, because you don't know the water pressures there at the park, and that can actually damage some of the lines. What we've learned is people leave it on, and the plumbing inside of one of these is not like your house. This is just plastic tubing with some crimped lines. Water inevitably always drips out somewhere. So we recommend anytime you're using water, you actually just fill up your tank and use the water pump from inside. And anytime you use it, you turn on the pump. When you're done, turn off the pump. The same thing, it'll build pressure in there, and if you leave your pump on and you had a leak, it's gonna leak out. Same thing if you're at the RV park. If you're gonna use that, make sure anytime you use it, you come out, turn on the spigot. When you're done inside using the water, come back outside and turn off the spigot. Last thing you wanna do is go hiking for 2 to 3 hours and come back and realized you had a water leak underneath the cabinets and now the trailer's flooded. We just recommend you be highly cautious with the water and the pressures within there. So we recommend, once again, just turn on the pump anytime you're using it and just use the fill tank. Don't plug in at the parks. Anyways, once again, you have your large storage area and then your last stabilizer jack here. Make sure you lift those up before you drive away and always check your jacks before moving the trailer and everything like that. We're gonna head on inside and show you how to use it. Let's head on in there. All right, guys, we're gonna go over the inside and how to use this RV. First of all, the major controls are located right up here. You have your interior light button. Just remember these lights, they're on dual switches. In the middle of the light is a little switch, so you can actually push that button in the middle. It'll turn on and off. But the main switch has to be on. You have a porch light switch, an awning light, your slide room, and then your awning extend. Just remember, anytime you're using that awning, make sure that door is at 45 degrees. You don't want it all the way open because it will get in the way of the awning arm. Right here is the solar panel controller. You don't need to worry about that kind of stuff. As we come in, you have a nice bed area. You do have a television here. There is no DVD player. So if you want to do DVDs or something, just bring your own cable. It's an HDMI cable, or you can bring your Amazon plug-in if you have internet access or something like that. You can use things there. Nice bed area. There are some outlets over here. And then you have your dinette. This is also converts into a bed. To convert it, all you do is lift off the table, pull these legs out, and then there's these little bump stops right here. You're gonna drop this table and set it right on those bump stops. And then take the rear, the side, the back cushions, and then put it on top of the table, and you have a nice large additional sleeping area. As we come around, you also have your air conditioning and heating controls right here. Thermostat, you'll just cycle through the modes. You can set your temperatures and stuff. Just remember, anytime you're using major appliances, the air conditioner, microwave, that kind of stuff, a generator has to be running to be able to use or plugged in at the park. As we come over here, we do have the burner top. It's a 2-burner stovetop. You are responsible for bringing your own lighter. This does not have a quick light or a clicker that clicks it. You have to bring a lighter. So just remember, bring your own lighter when using, if you're gonna use the cooktop here. This is not a glass cooktop. You're gonna actually flip this up. It just flips out of the way, just like this. And now that's your little backsplash. And then you can cook here. We've had, unfortunately, a couple people turn it on and then put the glass top down and try to cook on it, and it shatters. So just don't be that guy. Make sure those are up out of the way. We don't want you cutting on this surface with a knife or anything. It will damage it. So just be aware of that. You also have your microwave down here. As we come around, right underneath the refrigerator is a breaker panel and fuse box. That's just like your house would have a breaker panel, and there's some fuses in there. Hopefully you never need to get in there for anything, but if you're having some electrical issues or something, you could have popped a fuse. So that is located there. Also on this other side, you have your heater. This is where the heat's gonna come out. So don't put any gear against it or something like that, because that's gonna blow hot air out. Now we're gonna go over the refrigerator. Pretty easy to access. You're just gonna open this door here, just like this. Now this is a 12-volt refrigerator. This runs off the battery. There is an off-grid mode and then a normal mode. If you are dry camping, you're gonna run it in off-grid mode. Just remember, you do need to charge your batteries using a generator if you're off-grid. To do that, you're just gonna run your generator for an hour or two in the morning and an hour or two in the afternoon. Other than that, the fridge will work perfectly fine just off the battery. It is a large, I'll let you take a look in here, it's a large freezer too. That's the one good thing about these fridges. They are so much bigger than the other ones. Now we're gonna head into the bathroom and go over how to use it. Just remember, nothing goes down that toilet except for RV toilet paper. There's a foot pedal flush there. What you wanna do, it's actually a 2-cycle foot flush. If you hold it halfway down, it'll fill the bowl with water. Then you actually finish it by pushing it all the way down, and the water in the tank that you filled it with actually will flush it through the pipes. If you just flush it with not a lot of water in there, stuff can clog in the pipes. So you halfway down, it fills up the bowl, fill the bowl about halfway of water with your stuff in there, and then go ahead and finish pushing it down, and it actually pushes it. The pressure from all that water will make sure it gets down to the tank. You do have a GFCI outlet right here. Hopefully you don't need to worry about that, but if something's not working, you might want to check that to see if you popped the GFCI. You do have your heater controls here. There's an electric heater and a gas heater. We just always recommend you run on the gas one. That's propane. And then you have your water pump. That's what we were talking about outside. Anytime you're using the water, you want to turn on that pump just to make sure the pressure is correct. And then right above that, you do have some tank levels. These are just guides. They are not 100% accurate. You're gonna have your battery level, your freshwater level, your gray water, and your black water. The gray and black water tend to not be very accurate, but the freshwater one is pretty accurate. We're gonna show you how to close up the shower here. There's a built-in slider screen, so you'll just slide it over, and then it'll automatically latch. It just kind of hooks in. You're just gonna push it, it'll snap kind of into place. And then to undo it, you just kind of push on it a little bit, about a 1/4 inch, and then it just grabs itself just like that. Just be careful when you're showering in there that it's not the most durable material, so if you bang it or hit it or something, you could actually break the screen there. Well, that gives you a good inside tour in here. We also just want to let you know this is where your airflow is going to come out of and everything. This is one of the most awesome floor plans for a small travel trailer. You guys are going to love it. We're excited to see you, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.